I've never done it before, but it's like with me, I'm just like, I could do anything. Like I could perform heart surgery tomorrow if I needed to. Like
exactly, you can do it.
I can land this plane. Like. How's it going? This is the first time I'm filming this early. I normally do it at like 5:30, and you're like, no, we're gonna do it early, bright and early. Let's go. And I
was so surprised. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm a morning person. You want to do it bright and early? And you're like, yeah, let's do it. So I was surprised you even agreed to it, to be honest.
Why not? Like, why not get it done before? I always, I come from a thought process of like, let's do something fun before we get into work.
Yeah, dude.
Like, let's kick it, let's chill. Like, let's do something. I used to, when I worked in engineering, I used to be like, let's wake up at 4:30. Let's design something or draw something before I get out to work to go do something I don't really want to do that much.
Yeah, yeah, you got to do that to like sustain your creativity and like, you know, enjoy life at the end of the day. So
100%. So how are you doing this morning? How did yesterday go? Doing anything creatively that's fun?
Yesterday, I'm trying to think of what I did yesterday. Yesterday was a lot of errands. My laptop died, classic like logic board crapping out on me. So I had to go pick that up from the Apple store. Trying to think of what else I did. Just running errands and stuff, but it's been a chill morning this morning. Just took my dog for a walk and about to jump into, you know, the work day today. Thank God it's Friday, and yeah, I'm stoked, man.
Yes. Yeah. It's been one of those weeks where it's just like, I need the weekend again. It went too fast. And then it's a long weekend too. So that'll be a good time. But yeah, again, thank you for being on. This is Do You Know Designers podcast, where I sit down and I ask designers random questions that are either serious, designer based, funny, all over the gamut, just to prove that designers are more than just robots who spit out logos. We actually have a personality and something behind us. So this morning I have on Scott, who is an amazing letterer, amazing type designer, amazing designer in general, 10 years in the game. And even I'm just so excited to have him here. So Scott, if you can give a little bit about yourself, kind of your upbringing, where you're from, did you go to college for this, or are you self-taught, like that kind of information?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so as you mentioned, I'm mostly doing like freelance lettering, illustration designs, that sort of thing. I sort of started out, I started out taking art class from like kindergarten up until high school. Like I was really obsessed with art overall. And from there, I took a graphic design class in high school as well. And I thought it would be really similar to art class. And I thought like, oh, this will be an easy A, no problem. I'll get my elective credit out of the way. And like, you know, I have a good time doing it. Yep. And that's kind of where I like sort of fell in love with design. I think my teacher, Kenna, she was great. In every capacity, she sort of like pushed me to be a better designer, and of course push it or pursue it further at Arizona State University, which is where I got my degree. So I am not self-taught. I went to school for it. And then after graduating from ASU, from that program is kind of where I became obsessed with type, and then, you know, continued my education at the Cooper Union. And after I finished there, continued my education at the Type Harris type program. So I'm a creature of habit where I like enjoy going back to school. And for whatever reason, like school is like my happy place. So I really enjoy just continuing to learn. And I really thrive in that school-like environment. So yeah, man. I mean, that's kind of the backstory. I don't know what else you want to know.
No, that's perfect. Like, okay, that's really cool. I didn't know, like, I mean, continuing your education is great. Like, we always talk about how I still think those are like even different ways to continue your education, because most people are like, well, I just go to get my undergrad and then I'll go get my MBA. But to be like, well, there's this zone that I'm really interested in. Let me go figure out where I can gain more knowledge in that. that even inspires me a little bit. Like I didn't even think about it. I was like, hey, you could go take some classes or something to kind of get to know that type of lane a little bit more. Cause I share your love for lettering and letters, and I'm just like, I want to know more.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that being an option. Like it totally is.
That's exactly, that's kind of the mentality I had too, was like, I got the broader design knowledge. And then I was like, I'm like obsessed with type and lettering. So how do I, sort of focus in on that? And that's kind of what led to, continuing to go to school for specifically those things, as opposed to like the broader, like graphic design, So yeah, highly recommend.
That's so cool. All right, we're gonna hop into the questions.
Okay.
So question number 1.
All right.
What would you do if you won $1 million right now?
Oh shit. Oh man, that's a good question. I haven't really put any thought into that, honestly. If I won $1 million right now, I feel like I would, of course, like right off the bat, I'd probably stop working, at least for a little bit. Like I enjoy what I do. It really brings me a lot of joy, and I love it every day. Like there's no day that I like dread my job, So thankfully it's not like to the point of like, I'm going to quit working forever. I think it'd be more like, I'm going to take a sabbatical for at least a year or something like that.
For sure.
Like just like have a little bit of time to sort of like some downtime to rest and relax. Cause I feel like being a freelancer, I'm just like, I feel like I'm burning it all the time to some degree, because you're always having to like figure out where the next sort of like job's coming from and how to, essentially put food on the table, because nobody else is doing that for you. So it's a little stressful at times, but I think I've been doing it a decent amount of time where I'm not like too stressed about it. But the $1 million paycheck would definitely help with that.
That's so, yeah, I feel the same way. I kind of missed the like buying the home train because of 2020 kind of messed all of that up. Yeah. So that's like the first thing. I'm like, let's get out of like stop paying rent. Let's like move over into a mortgage.
Yeah, that'd be on my to-do list for sure. Yeah.
So I mean, it's rough. And I'm sure being a freelancer, you're just like, I got to check this email. I got to send this email. I got to make sure this person's good. Like, let me make sure this response from that is good. And it's like, I even feel like that, not like, because I do these extra things outside of my 9 to 5. And I'm just like, I got to make a video. Like, I got to be doing something.
Yeah, and I feel you, man. Yeah, you got to scratch that creative itch too.
For sure. Okay. Question number 2. If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh man. That's a good one too. I feel like for whatever reason, right off the bat, what came to mind is like, I'd probably tell myself to be a bit more patient, when it comes to a lot of things in life, honestly, but mostly work related stuff for sure. Like I was of the mentality back in the day when I first started out, that I wanted to reach this state of like, quote unquote success, right? And whatever that level of success is going to be different for everybody. So like I was trying to reach this level of success that I set for myself. And it's mostly by viewing, of course, because of social media, by viewing other designers and creatives and seeing what they're doing and what kind of work they're creating. And I was trying to get to that point in, let's say 2 years, as opposed to them being like 30 years in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to fucking create something every single day. For an entire year, I did this project where I did that. And then I was like trying to take on all this freelance work, and I was going to school at the time. And like, I was doing way too much and trying to reach that point, to the point where I, of course, became pretty depressed, severely burnt out. I was going through some health stuff too, all kinds of stress and anxiety, like it all just kind of piled up at the time. And even to this day, I still feel myself sort of like encroaching that area, but thankfully I'm aware of it now. So I pull myself back. So it's not like as serious as it once was, but I was doing that for at least, 3 to 5 years of just kind of like churning and burning until I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I need to take a step back and take care of myself. Because the work will always be there, but I think again, kind of the freelance mentality of like that scarcity mindset and not knowing where shit's gonna come and if you're gonna, get a job in a week or two. And so that sort of thing sort of plays into the mentality of my day to day. But again, thankfully I've been doing it for so long that it's a bit easier nowadays. But yeah, to answer that question, I think patience. Like tell myself to just chill out, it'll all work out at the end of the day. You don't have to like kill yourself in the process. So
yeah, I definitely feel and that's what I mean. Like part of the stuff that I'm doing now, again, my career changed in 2020. So it's part like I'm just like I have to do so much stuff to like be seen now that I'm making like people see you for most of your life and they're like, oh, you're an engineer. So to change their mind, you have to do so much extra. And I feel like I'm in like this hamster wheel of like trying to get to this point where they're like, oh, he's a designer now, but it's not real. It's time. It's like being consistent. You have to get past the like, I'm going to be able to work my way out of this. And it's just be and just 100%. Exist.
Yeah, man. So. I completely agree with that. Consistency and just kind of showing up. And of course, it's a long haul process too. It's like, it's not going to be like, you flip the switch and everyone's like, oh, this guy's a designer. So I get it. Like, I'm kind of on the other side of the spectrum where I'm like, I don't want to say I'm like pivoting, but I'm like exploring music now, and I can totally see myself doing it full time and just saying goodbye to design forever, honestly.
That's so cool.
So we'll see what happens, but I can relate to you there for sure. Like, I don't know how, I'm still like new into all that too. So I don't know how to like sort of navigate that. So you might have to give me some pointers, man.
I don't know if they're healthy. That's what I'll say. I can let you know what I'm doing, but I don't know if it's healthy. It's just, I mean,
that's all right.
I was so unhappy with what I was doing before that it was like, this brings me so much joy that I want to keep like, I'm almost chasing it too closely because it's like it gives you so much excitement because you're going to burn yourself out eventually. So this is for me to, when I watch this later, I could be like, oh yeah, you're talking to yourself.
Exactly, man.
But one of my like the next question I do have for you is the music side of it. So what has brought you to music? Why music? Why now?
Yeah, that's it's an interesting thing for me as well. Like one day, and I think it's because of the pandemic and like mindsets shifting and the world as a whole shifting and all kinds of things happening at the same time. Like one day I woke up and I just like had this creative urge to make music. And I can't explain it other than that. It was just like, I need to make music. And I don't know anything about music. Like when I mean, I do at this point, because I've been going back to school for it. But when I had that initial sort of like reaction or that thought, I was like, I need to make music, but how the hell do I go about doing this? Like I had no formal education in high school. I didn't take band class. I didn't do literally anything. I'd played no instruments. So it's very, very much like new from the ground up. And yeah, I mean, other than that, like for whatever reason, I had this calling, I had this creative urge, and I was like, okay, I got to do it. And I know how, I mean, you probably know as well, like being a creative, those creative urges are very fleeting. So once you feel it, the next day it could be completely gone and disappear 100%. Forever.
Yes. So, and it's like that never happened. Yeah,
exactly. And I'm like, and I don't know how long this is going to last or if it's like, of course, worth pursuing, but I just thought, life's too short. I got to at least give it a shot. And I am of the mentality too, where I get really focused in and narrowed in on things at times. So when I got this creative urge, I was like, okay, I got to buy a microphone. I got to buy a keyboard. I got to buy guitar, like all the, the materials and stuff to go about this process and like start learning. So I just started doing like some piano YouTube tutorials and stuff like that. And then, 2 weeks go by and I was like, I think I got to go back to school. And then I literally enrolled in a program at the Berklee College of Music, and I've been doing it for a year now.
Wow, that's so interesting. But
I
I
don't
feel
know,
that you're just like, I gotta spend all my money right now, else I'm not gonna be able to do this thing.
Yeah.
Like the bookshelf behind me is full of books that I was just like, I gotta go learn lettering tomorrow.
Yeah,
Let me go buy all these
exactly.
books. Like,
Yeah, dude.
that's so cool. It's so cool because I like the fact that you're like, let me go, like truly go after it. People say they want to do stuff all the time, but to be like, let me go buy the stuff and actually do it is interesting and cool and fun. So I'm glad you're doing that. And I thanks, I think of course, as long as you put the time in, it's going to work out. Like you'll get whatever you want out of it as long as you know that you've done this 4 times now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's 100% my mentality. I just thought like, okay, I got to give it a shot. And like, whatever happens at the end of the day, I don't have like some sort of like big end goal here other than like, I just want to make music. And of course, it being like a therapeutic process too, I think it'll help me process life and emotions and all, it's just like a creative, way of exploring or expressing yourself too. So any way to do that, like music might be this next thing because, design has become such a, I'm working with clients all the time. So it's hard for me to like sort of do pieces for myself and express myself in the process because I have no like juice at the end of the day for myself. You know what I mean? So music might be that thing for me now. Or at least we'll see. Like, again, it's kind of nice to go into it with no sort of plan other than like, I want to learn, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have this like sort of like huge high bar that I'm setting for myself or like this huge weight on my shoulders. Cause that kind of might become a bit crippling for me in the future. So I'm just kind of coasting. I'm just kind of taking it one day at a time and like enjoying the process.
That's cool. Yeah. I have a passion to one day like pottery, like people throwing on a wheel.
Yeah,
me and my wife watched this there's on HBO Max is this show and there's like 5 seasons of people just doing pottery and it was so wholesome. Like it was so great. I was like, I need to do that.
Yeah.
And then I actually have someone that I follow on IG and they design, but they're like in their office, they've created this space to do pottery. And I'm like, that's like the dream. Like,
give it a shot. You're in Phoenix, right?
Yeah, I'm in Phoenix.
Okay. All right. So go to Pip Coffee and Clay.
Yeah, me and my wife have signed up to go there and we just haven't made it there yet. She's gone a couple times, but I got to get out there and give it a shot. I've never done it before, but it's like with me, I'm just like, I could do anything. Like I could perform heart surgery tomorrow if I needed to. Like
exactly, you can do it.
I can land this plane. Like,
yeah, dude, I believe in you, man. I mean, I did the same thing. Like again, because of the pandemic, I was like, same thing. Pottery and music hit at the same time for me, and so we went really hard with pottery for a while, at least a year, and then we took a little break because I was hard to juggle all the things that I was doing, of course. But highly recommend. I think you'd enjoy it. It's super therapeutic, super relaxing. That place is great. So yeah, give it a shot.
Dope. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah.
All right. So next question. You had answered some questions a couple of weeks ago, and the answers to them were so great that I was like, I want to get some of these on film. I don't know if that's my selfishness or and you're free to answer them if from when you answered them before, you have a different answer to them now. You're free to say whatever. But one of the questions was, how do you build up your clientele as a freelancer?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the way I'm trying to think of like how I answered it a couple of weeks ago, but I think what I pretty much said was like myself, this is kind of my process. And I know a lot of other freelancers that do something similar is that, being a freelancer, you have to be your own advocate. You have to, back yourself any day of the week. So what I mean by that is you have to go sort of searching for the work. You have to, if it means anything, send some cold calls or send some cold emails or do some cold calls with potential clients. How you go about finding those emails and phone numbers and contact information. That is the difficulty, honestly. There's no like easy way of doing that. I think like sometimes, you know, I might stumble across an email or something on Twitter or Instagram, you know, a social post of some kind. If like a studio or an agency is saying that they're looking for freelancers, or if they're looking for, you know, if they put a call out, that makes it a little bit easier to, of course, make the connection there. But anyway, to circle back, like I have a spreadsheet of all the potential agencies and studios and stuff that I want to potentially collaborate with. And I go about the process of, you know, taking some time to research them. And what I mean by the research is mostly finding the contact info. Like, how do I get in touch with the right person that will actually, you know, see my portfolio, give me the time of day, and of course, you know, check out the work that I can do to hopefully help them on a future project that they may have. And, you know, every day I try to send, you know, 3 to 5 potential emails to potential clients and see what happens. And, you know, most of the time you might not get an email back, and that's okay. Yeah. You'll know obviously if the email isn't received, because you'll get some sort of like, you know, ping back from the email service. But at some point, like even if you can't contact the marketing department directly, I usually will mention in the email something along the lines of like, hey, I'm hoping to connect with the creative department. My name's Scott, blah, blah, blah. And just kind of go into it, explain, you know, I'm a freelancer. I'm looking to collaborate with you guys because I actually really love the work that you're doing. And I think we could, you know, be a great team, that sort of thing. But with all that said, I kind of want to preface it too, is like, I'm only reaching out to studios that I truly think we would be, you know, it would be a good collaboration. Like, I'm not trying to just like send mass emails to all these people just to get work.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to approach it from of like a sense of, I want to become friends and establish a relationship.
Partnership.
Right. Yeah. And that's been my biggest goal, like freelance wise, because for the past almost like 7 years, like I've been doing it 10, but for the past 7 years, a lot of my clients have been one and done type of clients. So I'll do a project and I never see them again. And I'm trying to establish more of those relationships where people can be like, oh, I know just the guy for this project. Like, you know, we've worked with Scott before. Yeah. Let's call Scott up, so that, you know, because we know how Scott works, how quick he is, how, you know, his pricing, all that stuff. And it just makes sense, you know, the sort of back and forth and the collaboration involved with all that stuff is just so much easier when you have that relationship and the rapport. And, you know, depending on like how that relationship is, if you can just like treat it more like just two friends hanging out, as opposed to, you know, I'm the client, give me what I want. You know what I mean? It needs to be more of that sort of like ebb and flow, and it just makes that working relationship so much better. So anyway, to circle back there, I went off on a little tangent.
No, you're good. This is all good. Really good.
Okay, cool. I mean, essentially what I'm trying to say is like, establish working relationships, make it a good one, from like a personal connection sort of thing. And then from there, of course, to even get to that point, do the outreach yourself. And yeah, I mean, that kind of sums it up. Make a spreadsheet, because a spreadsheet alone will help you sort of like understand who you've sent emails to. You know, you can hit a checkbox or whatever, however that spreadsheet's designed, to help you sort of like keep a log of everything that you've done. And it just makes it easier to like, you know,
that's dope.
Have everything in front of you.
Yeah. I was watching a document, like a mini series thing yesterday with a shoe designer, and he worked for like on Yeezy season, one of those drops. He had built some stuff for Kanye, and he talked about like he got laid, like he lost his job working with them. Like they stopped like working together, and he's like, yeah, I was unemployed, and I went to LinkedIn and shot a message to someone who worked at Versace, and ended up talking to Donatella Versace. Like, she was like, I'm gonna fly you out, come present to me, kind of thing. And I was just like, off a LinkedIn message. Yeah. And it's like, it really do be happening like that for people. Like, and that's something that when you posted that, the answer to that question, I was just like, do I advocate enough for myself? Like, do I put myself in front of enough people and let them know, hey, I'm Cameron, I'm cool to work with, this is a little bit of what I do. Right. And I was like, I haven't done that. And it's been like an expectation that, like, sometimes people say like, well, I'm a freelance designer. And they think when they say that, something comes with it. Like, people just show up. People just flock when you say, I'm a freelance designer. I'm Cam. Hey, y'all chill out over there. I'll get to you. Like, it doesn't work like that. So
no, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I think it's funny you mention that, because I feel like maybe it's just because of how social media is and how, you know, designers nowadays are definitely using social media to their advantage to post their portfolios and all their work and stuff. And I don't know if it's just because we all have our work in all these places that we just kind of expect, like, oh, somebody will come across my work and they'll reach out and the work will continue to flow in because I have my work posted on Instagram. But in reality, it's like, that's not really the case. No. Like, almost every freelancer I know is doing the outreach themselves, because that's like, that's the way to do it. It's you're making those direct contacts, and it's just so much easier to, I mean, then I guess at the end of the day too, you know, you're doing something instead of just kind of like sitting back and like hoping that, you know, life comes to you. And so, you got to put in a little bit of effort there.
Yeah. And that's, to me, that I felt like that was the first time I've heard someone say it like that. Like, it actually rang and it like hit. And I was like, dang, he's right. Like, cause again, we have all these, like, you got the Chris Does, you got the Made by Jameses, and it's like, they're giving you all this like fluff. And it's like, what really gets you there is relationships. Like, it lets you get in the door. So it's like, some people aren't like, again, design is whoever is flavors. They're different flavors for different people. So your work might not resonate with a certain group or a certain person. So it's like, you have to build this repertoire with different people who mess with your stuff to actually be able to make money, which you need to live. So
I know. Yeah. At the end of the day, sadly, it comes down to that. But hopefully along the process, it can still be an enjoyable one, you know.
For sure. So when you're contacting these people, what are you sending them? Like, what are you saying? What are you putting in the package?
Yeah, so I feel like over the years, it's kind of fluctuated, and it also kind of depends on who you're emailing to. You know, every client, like you said, there's like different flavors for different clients too, in that capacity too. So it's like, you know, if I'm emailing a studio that does like a lot of, you know, title treatments or end credit stuff, like big movie pictures type stuff, I might send them work related to that or very similar to that, and have a specific portfolio catered to them, because there's so many studios out there that do that type of work. And then I might have a portfolio over here that I put together for a animation studio that needs a lot of custom illustrations for, you know, some sort of big storyboard type, you know, process video of some kind, right? So to answer that question, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I first consider who the heck it is that I'm emailing. You know, what kind of work do they do? And then how do I cater this email to them so that it makes sense for this relationship to actually happen? And of course, knowing that, you know, the potential of this person getting who knows how many emails in a day, you know, how do I make a good first impression without bogging them down, without having them read like a novel, without giving them too much like extra fluff that doesn't matter. So it's pretty short and sweet. It's usually like, hey, my name's Scott. This is what I do. I'm a, you know, lettering artist, designer, X, Y, and Z, whatever. And then, you know, I usually will tell them like, I really love the work that you did for X, Y, and Z, this project, that project. I've been following you guys for this long, because it's usually like, that's usually how I want to reach out to these people to begin with, is like, I've seen their work over the years, or I've seen what they did for this person or this thing. So it's like, you know, you want to establish some sort of connection to them, so that you're not just, you know, so it doesn't feel so much like a cold email, where you're just like, hey, my name's Scott, I need some work. Give me some work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, it's like again, the partnership thing. It's like, I can help you like in this moment kind of thing.
Exactly. And so, making all that, front and center and known to them. And then pretty much telling them, this is when I'm available. If you want to chat further, let me know. Excited to hopefully hear from you, that sort of thing. It's like, it can be super short and sweet. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I go back and forth with attaching a PDF. It just depends, again, kind of who the client is. If I want to really cater the work to them, I will usually design something very custom. And what I mean by design, it's more of just like laying images out in a PDF, of course. It's not really like this big thing. So I'll lay out specific stuff for them. If it's a bit more broad or generalized, I'll usually just kind of link my portfolio site because it'll kind of do the job. I think either one is fine. You just want to make sure, again, that's like short and sweet and to the point. You're not bogging them down. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's pretty straightforward, I'd like to think, but
No, it is. And it's how do you advocate for yourself in anything? And you have to be the person who reaches out. So yeah, that's great. Yeah. And like I said, I don't know if I've heard anyone speak about it in this way. That's why I was like, let's put this out there. So, well, I just think people get to doing it. They do it for so long. You've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been doing this process for a while. And then a lot of people, when they get to a certain point and they're like, well, I have followers or people I want to speak to, they don't remember the small things they were doing to even get there.
That is very true. Yeah.
They're just like,
this is afloat.
Yeah. There was like, this is the big action that I did in the beginning. And these are all the things I remember. But these are those little things in between that are like invaluable. It's really how you propelled your career, but you just don't realize it. So
yeah, 100%.
So that's why I was like, oh yeah, this is all right. Next question. You're a new addition to a crayon box. What color would you be and why?
Oh geez. This is an interesting, I don't think I've ever had anyone ask me this question. Dude, I don't even know where to start with something like this. I don't know.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you answer this.
I can go first. Okay.
I'm curious what you would say.
One of my favorite colors, like even in like design, I'm always like drawn to it. It's kind of like the slate color. It's a little like gray, but like darker blue, like that color. And then I was just thinking about it, like when I read the question, and I was like, man, I'm pretty like a moody person, like to be all honest. Like I feel like it fits because it's like, I don't know. I just be emotional sometimes.
That's okay.
Just like my wife calls me emo boy sometimes, and I'm just like, hey, that's me. I'll wear it.
I resonate with this.
I feel like the color that kind of works. They work together. So
yeah, no, that's good. That's good, man. I still don't know. For whatever reason, there's like a part of me that wants to say white because all the colors can mix well with white.
Oh, okay.
And so you can create like an infinite palette with all the other colors if you like, or at least that's how I'm thinking.
That's sweet though. That's good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of it in terms of like acrylic paint though. If you want to get like a lighter shade of a color, you mix white into it. And so I don't know if it works with crayons because it's like on the paper there, but that's where my head's going. At least
that works. I like that answer. We're gonna go with that.
All right. Deal.
So my next question is, what is your favorite project you've ever done?
Right off the bat, I feel like every time I get answered this question, it's always this project I did with Adobe and Girl Skateboards back in the day. I'm trying to think. I have the skateboard over here, but I won't like go off and get it. But anyway, so a while back, I was probably a junior. I think I was a junior in college. Adobe and Girl Skateboards like partnered up, had this contest of some kind where they posted something. I remember seeing it on Twitter, Behance or something. I remember seeing the post on Twitter, and they said to pretty much say, like, hashtag your work with the hashtag make it girl, and have this chance to collaborate with the Girl Skateboards team on a new deck for this limited edition line of decks for the Girl Skateboards team. And so I went to Behance. at the time I was like painting skateboards. Like I took my lettering and then just like essentially applied it to these blank decks that I had. So I was just doing that again, just for fun, for shits and giggles, I guess. And I posted all that stuff on Behance and then added the hashtag. And then a couple days go by and I got a message from somebody on the Adobe team, and they're like, hey, we want to interview you potentially for this, like this collaboration, this project. And of course, that day, I remember, of course, being a student too, everything's new. I lost my shit. I was just like, you know, it was like the best day of my life. I remember just like reading that email. Of course, I was up at like 5 a.m. I'm just an early riser. So like today, ever since like, I don't know, probably like middle school, I've been getting up at like 5 or 6 a.m. But more recently, I've been getting up at 4 a.m., which is just insane. But anyway, I remember getting up at 5. I remember getting up at 5 a.m. and I just like went outside and just like instantly had to go skate because I just like needed to like release this energy. Yeah, man. I just had all this like pent up energy of like excitement. Anyway, so, you know, further along the way, I had an interview because they want to make sure you're a decent human being and you make sense, for sure. You know, like it all just kind of aligns. And the rest just kind of like fell into place. There was, you know, this is like a global contest, I think, that out of like, I don't know, however many countries, and there's 5 students selected. And I was one of them. That's somehow
crazy.
So they like flew myself and my buddy Caleb out to Torrance, California. We just got to hang out with the girl, you know, marketing team, design team. They have a skate park right there at their headquarters. So we got to skate a little bit, some promo material. Like we literally sat down and started designing the decks right there. Everything about it was just insane. Like I couldn't even explain to you like all the little things that we got to do in the process too. And then, you know, the big warehouse is right there too. And so to like at the end of the project, walk down the warehouse and just grab shit, just like pull like t-shirts and hoodies and backpacks and decks. Like I came home with easily like, you know, $200 or $300 worth of merch and stuff. Dang. On top of this sick experience. So, you know, it will always be like the raddest fucking coolest project I've ever done. Like nothing will ever top that, dude.
Bro, like to have that your junior year of college, just like, I'm done here.
Exactly. I was like, dude, I'm on top of the world. This can't get any better than this. Like, I'm gonna drop out of school right now.
I'm now. Hey everyone, I'm a freelancer. Like, come give me work.
At the time, like I had a full-time job at I was working at an advertising agency too. So like I don't think I was doing a little bit of freelance. It wasn't like to the point of anywhere near, of course, what I'm doing now. So it was like I would do a t-shirt or something every couple months or so. So like having this big thing happen, it kind of helped establish myself, or at least made me realize like, oh, I could be a freelance designer, or like, oh, I could do more projects like this. Like I could do this all the time, then damn, I'm gonna be super stoked about my career, you know. So
dang, that's so cool. That's a cool place to start. Like
yeah, I'm really lucky, to be honest.
Because I don't know, most people don't get that, but that's really cool. But again, you advocated for yourself. You did it. You put the work out there. You didn't know what was going to come of it, and it worked.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think a lot of my and not to get off on a tangent here, but I feel like a lot of my freelance career has been somewhat successful to that point because of the fact that I just throw my shit and see what sticks. You know what I mean? That was one of those situations. I'm also just that sort of mentality of like, I don't have this like one goal that I'm striving for. It's more of just like, oh, what if I did this? What if I tried this? What if I, you know, so I just throw my stuff at every opportunity that I possibly can. And that was one of them. And I'm glad, you know, I at least like threw my hat in the ring and it worked out. So
yeah, that's sick.
Yeah,
that's sick. All right. Cool. So we made it to the end of the show. I have one question that I ask everybody. What is your design end game? What is the end of the road? You riding the horse off into the sunset? What is that? What does it look like?
Oh my God. I don't know. That is another great question that I've never been asked before, or that I've put any thought into.
What would you want? What is it? What, how do you feel?
Yeah, man. I feel like at the end of the day, I just want to continue, you know, loving and enjoying the day to day and not getting like sick of it to the point where I, you know, dread sort of getting up. I've been at that point before in the past, and I don't want to ever hit that point again. And so honestly, I guess like if I were to answer that question, I feel like that's it. That's all that matters to me, is just like the happiness and enjoying my creative life that I have. And there's no like huge goal that I'm like trying to make this much money or work with these clients. Like whatever that is that happens in the interim, it can happen. But at the end, the big goal is just like, I just want to fucking be happy and enjoy the process along the way. I guess that's the way to sum it up.
I love that. And make some, aren't you like doing making Game Boys or like,
I am. Can you see them down there?
Yeah. Someone told me the other day, they're like, yeah, Scott's buying Game Boys and refurbishing them himself, or like replacing the screens and everything. So yeah,
that's it. It's just like, I just get so hyper focused on all these other creative things. And that's my latest creative endeavor is like sort of exploring that. And like, who knows what's next? Like, I really want to do like a stained glass workshop. So like make my own stained glass sort of window. But anyway, it's never ending, man.
That's sick. I don't know. I'm leaving this very like inspired. Like,
that's
got it.
That's awesome.
No, for sure. Like if you got an itch, go. Like, cause I'm very into like, I have a laptop back here that I decided to do all of the like opening it up and changing out the hard drives and changing out the battery. And it's just like one of those things where it's like, this is so comforting. Like it's like slow, and it kind of gives like, you're not going and buying. I feel like sometimes buying, you're just like, there's nothing, it doesn't feel good, but like fixing and using your hands and doing things that are tangible, like give you this like
that gratification.
Joy. Yeah. So we got some things. Me and Scott are gonna kick it after this, definitely, because
100%.
That's really cool. But I appreciate you being here. This was really great. Like I feel like we had a really good episode. If you have anything you want to share, your social media handles, this is the spot where you do it.
Yeah, of course. I am at You Bring Fire, all spelled out, on all the social channels, and my website is youbringfire.com.
Which is sick. Your website is sick.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, it's taken a while to get to that point, but I'm glad we're here. I'm like, I finally found sort of like my creative sort of roots and like my identity. So it definitely helps it, feel a bit more me. So I appreciate it. Thanks, man. Yeah, that's it.
Dope. And again, if you've made it this far, thank you for being here. You guys are really what keeps me going in all this. If you like this content, you want more of this content, drop me a like, comment, subscribe, and I will be back with the next one. Thank you.